All right, welcome back. Right now, my guest joining me, Abiose Haruna, is a partnership advisor educating Nigerian girls in new enterprise engine 2. I have here, Mercy Call. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
All right, Dexter Kingsley Godwin is a director at Seal Resource Firm. Welcome.
Thank you.
Dexter. Dexter is your first name, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, good. So welcome to you both to the show. We're looking at Global Money Week. We started on Monday. In fact, I talked about it on Monday on the show because we know Global Money Week this year is from 25th to the 31st of March. So it will end on Sunday. The theme for this year is learn, earn, and save. Yeah, you know, and how important is financial literacy? Let me start with you, Abiose, because you take a look at financial literacy in the country, it's still very low. That's why shows like mine, let me say like my show is on.
Very true. Very true.
That's why I do the show every day
to
inform people, educate people, tell them what they need to know in terms of financial safety, financial discipline and all of that. How important is financial literacy generally? Because this week is an awareness week, not just for children and young people, but even as adults, because you see a lot of adults are not financially literate.
So financial literacy is really important because knowledge is power. If you don't know about finances, you don't know about money, then you just spend your money anyhow. Now, like you said, the theme for this week is learn, save, and earn. And that learn says learn to spend your money wisely. But how can you spend the money wisely when you don't even have the information, the requisite knowledge, the requisite information, knowing how to use that money for the necessary things and not just anyhow? So financial literacy, that's the key thing and of course to enhance financial inclusion too. That's one of the reasons why all this is going on. So that's one of the major reasons. Another reason why financial literacy is so important, you've mentioned a lot of adults too. Now, if you find out for many of us growing up, issues of finances, apart from you have the piggy bank at home, put something there, what other thing were we told about money? All you know is that you need to work hard, you need to earn money, but beyond that, the intricacies of finances we were not taught. But this kind of awareness, the Global Money Week and other initiatives like that, come up so that from when they are children, people can begin to learn. So that when they become adults, they are experts already, experts in quotes, when it comes to financial matters. And that's why we always, throughout all this information during this week and at other times.
Let me come to you, Dexter. Isn't it, for me, I find it so, surprising. Sometimes when people see me out when I go out, I'll be like, oh, your program is really educative. It makes me, it teaches me so much about money. It teaches me about the economy, what is happening and all of that. In fact, I don't used to be interested. Some people tell me, I don't even know all those jargons you used to say. I'm not even interested in your program.
That's right.
Do you understand? But at the end of the day, I speak with them and I say, how can you not be interested in one of the things that keeps you going, that every one of us go out every morning
because of
some people work at night and all of that because of money.
That's true.
I tell them, I said, there's money in your pocket now. If I ask you to give me now, you will not want to give me. How do you make that money? If you make the money, how do you
ensure that it grows?
How do you ensure that it grows? How do you ensure that you save it and invest and all of that? So how important is this week really?
Okay, thank you so much, Nancy, for having me on set. I'm so excited to be here. Now, this is a very, very important topic. And I'll tell you why it's important. Everything that we do is geared towards becoming financial independent. We should make no mistakes about it. And for me, I think this is very important because the first thing is that this is a matter that is not even taught in our educational system, because this should be included in our educational curriculum. Our educational system does a good job in helping people to access information, but it doesn't do a good job in helping people to learn about investing. I'm not aware of any program, whether from nursery to university, that talks about financial education and financial literacy. So many people grow up having assumptions about their finances, having assumptions about how to grow and manage their money. And that's a big mistake that we're making. And that's part of the reason why we see the capital poverty of the world. because nobody is really, just like she said, mentoring our kids about how to grow their money from a very small age. And that is very, very important. So financial mentoring is very important, and people need to learn about how to invest their money. When you're growing up and you begin to make money, it's a good thing. But making money and managing money is a different ball game entirely. And then the third phase is multiplying money. And that's another higher ball game. So some people stop at the level of knowing about, oh, I need to make money. They know how to make money, but then they don't know how to multiply their money. So they come back to the same square root at the end of the day. And that's not going to help us. So the Global Money Week, which talks about learning, earning, and saving, is very important because those are the key words. It begins with you learning. What do you need to learn? You need to learn about financial education. Financial education is very, very important. You need to learn about how money works, how your money is going to work for you, how to, save money, how to invest that money, and how to make that money keep bringing in more money for you, because that's the point. So that's very, very important. And let me say this, our governments, non-profit organizations, and all kind of investment partners are doing a lot in terms of trying to help people come out of poverty. But at the end of the day, if people are not having financial education of how to save their money, of how to invest their money, we will still come back to the same square root. We will still be revolving around the same cycle. So it's it's that important that we teach people about financial education.
Now, let me bring you in here, Abiose, again. We're talking about the Global Money Week, which is this week, and how important it is. A lot of us make money. We find ourselves spending more than we even earn, because one of the themes for this year is learn, save, and earn. So we spend even more than our income and all of that. If we're saying this financial education, a lot of people watching us now may be interested in even knowing or even want to know how to perhaps even spend our money wisely, because you need to also be wise in spending.
Truly.
Earning, how do you even earn the money in the first place? Then when you save, then how you also invest to multiply your money. What should one do to be financially educated?
Okay, so I will start from where Dexter stopped. He made the statement that right now there's no program that is aware of that is actually teaching about finances. I want to tell you that the CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, in partnership with Mercy Corps and some other organizations, have actually developed a financial education curriculum, a standalone curriculum, and one that has been infused into core career subjects. Currently, it's being pilot tested in Katsina and Lagos. Once we get the feedback and all the other inputs and whatever incorporated, it will be rolled out nationally across the 36 states of the Federation. Beautiful. So that aspect of ensuring that children learn from when they are young comes in, because it's for basic, junior. Well, it's better late than never. It's better late than never. Did you get it when you were younger? So it's better late than never.
No, but I got it in a way from my upbringing.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of us, like when I was growing up, I've said it several times. I even said it on Monday when I talked about this global money. When we were growing up, we were encouraged to save in the piggy bank. We had this small piggy bank that we were just putting money. This colo, 15 naira, 10 naira. Then there was kobo in Nigeria. You would put and all of that. Everything. So in my own little way, I had that.
Yes. Just like me too. My father is an accountant, so you have to account for every kobo, every kobo you get in the house. But coming to the program I work on in Mercy Corps, that's one of our major work is financial education. We work with adolescent marginalized girls, 17 to 23. And one of the things they do during what we call in the places where we call learning sessions is financial education. We have a curriculum that talks about making money, investments, loans, what you can do. And we don't just stop there. They need to apply this knowledge. So we link them up to vocational skills training opportunities that they can turn into a business and earn money. And we support them to also open accounts to make investments where necessary. We partner with banks, microfinance institutions, and other financial institutions to ensure that they get every support that they need. So of course, it's not to all girls in Nigeria. We're only targeting about 18,000, but that's a start. If organizations like Mercy Corps and other similar organizations can do that, find out that gradually there's that replication effect where one girl tells another girl and another girl, young people tell each other, the peer mentoring goes on. So that's one way that we can do it, because you can't, of course, you won't get all the knowledge or information you need in one day, but it's from all these kind of interactions and contacts with people that are the experts That's where we start from.
Now, you've mentioned what you're doing perhaps with the central bank. I know the central bank also does stuff around Global Money Week every year. Sometimes when I go to the central bank too, I see children coming into, on excursion, coming into central bank, going to the museum. There's a museum, a money museum there, and all of that. But shouldn't it go more than that, actually?
It should go more than that.
That's
why I was talking about it being inculcated into our educational curriculum. That's the point I'm driving at. It has to be inculcated into our educational curriculum. It is that important. It's very, very important.
Which is being done right now, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you also know that the Global Money Week is not the only initiative when it comes to financial awareness. We also have the World Savings Day, which comes up in October.
Truly.
And then the Bankers Committee also have
financial inclusion.
Exactly. And they have the school mentoring programs where they all adopt a school. And that school for a year or 2 years, it's their focus, teaching about financial issues. So I think gradually we are really getting to that point, because we already know that financial inclusion is critical for economic growth. If you don't have it, if people are not economically included or financially included, then it has great implications for the GDP and economic growth of that country.
What is the role, especially for parents? Because that's the background. What's the role of parents teaching their children and their words about finances, about money?
So this is it. Most parents, don't forget, I talk a lot about poverty because that's one thing I'm working to end. I'm very concerned about ending poverty. Now, most parents do not give their children enough financial education. As sad as it is, that's the reality. Now, parents need to do more. But how does a parent train a child to become financial literate when the parents themselves are not financially literate?
Yeah.
So that's the challenge. So most parents are still struggling with their finances. So what we find out is that the way most of us were raised was that you go to school so that you can come out of school and get a good job. And then people go to school, they study this very nice course, and of course, maybe at the end of the day, some people get a good job and they're making money. But at the end of the day, making money is not the same thing as becoming financially independent. You could be making money, but it is how you manage that money that matters. So at the end of the day, the ball game is not about making money. It is about money management and money multiplication skills. And that's where a lot of people have missed it. Because you could go to school, you could be earning money, but at the end of the day, at the end of every month, you discover that you're living in debt. You could be living in debt. Some of us grew up knowing that our parents lived in debt. So where did we learn this? We had to learn outside. But if you're a parent right now and you're watching, it's very important that you train your children on how to become financially independent, how to learn how to manage money.
Just like you said, a lot of us in Nigeria are poor. A lot of people are living from hand to mouth.
Truly.
And you're saying for the parents to also teach their children.
They don't know.
When they don't know what to teach. But the question also should be, even if you don't know, or you are not really sophisticated, let me put it that way.
Truly.
Is there a crude way, or let me put it this way, is there a native way of teaching your children how to be financially independent and how to save and all of that?
So,
because not all of us that have parents that are accountants,
Truly,
that are
exactly
educated.
That's the point.
But there are some people, like they say, that have native intelligence.
Exactly.
Very true.
So how do we, for those watching us right now, and perhaps fall into that category, teach our children
when
that?
you said crude way, I will also go crude. So you know, the local ajo, esusu, all those things that we do.
I want us to go local.
Yes, that's part of the local way that people in the past have been able to manage their finances. They know that they want to get this glass cup. It's 600 naira. I don't have it immediately. What do? I gather with some other people in my community. All of us, we all have needs. Let's take it in turns. I will take. Let me buy it, and then we continue. That's the crude way.
Very important.
And you find out, like you said, native intelligence, they know how to manage this money. It's not as if they don't know. They know that once they get money, this is what they want to use it for, and they go for it. And that's part, and you find out that children in such environments also grow up doing the same thing. I know a lot of businesses in the rural areas that have grown as a result of this kind of arrangements. But you know, the problem comes where, you know, when we now leave native intelligence, we now come, we are now well-read, you know, and then we think that that automatically translates into better management of funds. You mentioned earlier on that before you know it, you are spending more than you earn. A lot of affluence, a lot of things that are not necessary, we start buying. And for us on our program, we always teach our children wants and needs. Is it a want? Is it a need? Do you really need it? Is it necessary for your survival? That's part of the teaching. If it's not necessary for your survival, why can't you put it aside and go for the ones that you really need now? And then save money, continue to save money for those other things when you have. I'm sure we can't satisfy all our needs at once, but at least to an extent when you. So all those kind of teachings from that stage are part of the things we can do for that. And then for living the native intelligence, for parents now, I think they also need to imbibe that attitude of learning. They need to find out information. True. And I think a lot of our financial institutions can come into this.
That's what I wanted to say. That at the financial institutions, like the banks, the microfinance banks,
they're not doing enough.
Are they doing enough? Because what they are perhaps a lot. I know some of them, like this Global Money Week, some banks have been able to gather children or have gone to schools and all of that. But shouldn't it go beyond that? That you should be interested beyond collecting the money and putting in the bank.
Exactly.
You understand?
I always have this argument whenever we go for meetings and we are discussing such things. Many times, many of our financial institutions have concentrated on the formal sector. You go to the school, people that supposedly already have information, you keep going to them every year. There are a lot of people that are out there that are not in the formal sector, and they make up the majority of those that are excluded financially. What information are we taking to them? What kind of orientation are we giving them? We go, we make, we have a lot of campaigns and outreaches. Come and open an account with us. When you open an account, you get this. But what real training or information are we, the step-by-step process, are we doing that? Are we spending time? Are we spending resources in carrying out those kind of education and information activities for these people? So we need to do more. Go out there, not just the formal sector, go into the informal sector. It will amaze you to know that Nigeria, one of the things that we're trying to do, looking at the National Financial Inclusion Framework, is to reduce exclusion rate to 20% by 2020.
And how achievable is that?
Well, right now we are 26. We're about 26.7 this year. Yeah. At least last year, 2008, was about 36.6. And but we are still trying to get to that. But we need to do more. One of the discussions we are looking at is that the first indicator is having people open accounts. That's the first indicator.
I was coming to that because when we talked about native intelligence, I also wanted to state that in as much as we may have that native way of teaching our children how to spend money, how to save and all of that, or even for adults, we need to move beyond that. You mentioned like the Susu people and all of that. You find out that some of them don't even have bank accounts, or even those they are job people that go around the market every day. You see a young woman
carrying a bag,
and you bring out one card, you mark, you've collected, you feel. Are those monies also finding their ways
into the banks?
Into the banks. That's another thing, which is also part of financial education. Yeah.
Okay, looking at that issue, it boils down to the individual to be able to be sure that, like she mentioned, those kind of issues have helped a lot of people to start up some small businesses, in the rural areas. That's helped a lot of people. But one thing I will advise is that you have to watch where your money goes. You have to watch where your money goes. While I was in school, when I was a student, there was a thrift society that opened up just somewhere close to the University of Abuja, and I began saving some money there. But I was suspicious about their activity. Even as much as I wanted to save, I was very suspicious. I had a small business. I was running a fast food spot. So I was saving some money. At a particular point, I became very conscious about the activity. They were acting quite strange. So the next week, I just went out there and withdrew all my money from the thrift savings. And the next time I was passing that place, it had shut down. So you have to be very smart about your money. If you want to become financially independent, one of the things you must learn is how to observe where you put in your money. You have to be, as much as we talk about investments, you have to learn how to observe your capital, your investment. You have to monitor it.
We know what's happening now. Everybody wants to double or triple or quadruple their money.
Fast.
Days of MMM, for example.
Yes.
It's still
Ponzi
part
schemes.
of... Yes, Ponzi schemes and all of that. I remember in 2017, I talked about Ponzi schemes. And in fact, I was attacked. As in, a lot of people wag their tongues. Nancy, see your money. Waiting concern you. Leave it. Government is not doing enough.
What happened at the end of the day?
What happened at the end of the day? I don't want to say, okay, it serves them right because,
so.
I told you so. But the thing is that, just like you said, you've got to be very careful. And I'm still aware that Ponzi schemes are still on with different names and with different styles, as it were. So people are vulnerable. It's still part of this financial education, isn't it? That there's how money works.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like some people will say money is a spirit. I've heard people say money is a spirit, but I don't know if money is a spirit. But money has principles, isn't it? You want to come in here?
Yeah, just like what you were saying, you need to watch where your money go. And you said something that it needs to go beyond the SSU, Ajo and all that. The girls we work with, we started out like that, like the contribution kind of thing. But in a more structured way, we call it the Village Savings and Loans Association. They have passbooks, they have presidents, they have their regular meetings, they discuss about how they use their money, either as a group or as individuals that collect loan. But we've also been able to partner with other commercial banks who also support in opening accounts for these young ladies and also give them tips on how they can make the money in their accounts grow. Interest, investments, maybe allowing the bank to invest it on their behalf, different things that we're doing. And one of the major things that we're looking at is that for people, young people to really be financially independent, you need to be able to create your own livelihood. It's not about me giving you the fish, but you need to learn how to fish by yourself.
For young people, is that possible in an economy that is still hard for even adults and those that are graduates?
It's very possible.
It's possible. It's hard, but it's possible because we also, like I said, we link them out to vocational training opportunities, apprenticeship opportunities, internship opportunities, that at the end of the day, depending on how they perform, they can get a grant or start up a grant or equipment to start their own business.
All right, Dexter, how is that possible? That question that I asked.
Let me come in there. It's very, very important. It's very, very possible. Now, it doesn't matter what you're involved in. It doesn't matter whether you are a tailor, whether you are a conductor, whether you are just a local woman frying akara there. It doesn't matter how you are making money. What you need to know is, first of all, how to save, then how to
It is important how to make money through the legal means.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
within legal means.
Yes.
Not
Not
money
Yahoo
within legal means. So
Legal
before
means,
the
of
government
course.
or the law comes after you.
Yeah.
Not through drugs, not
Not
through
through
Yahoo
Yahoo
or Yahoo Plus or whatever. So it's important.
So when you're doing something legally and you're making money, the first thing you need to learn how to do is how to save. And I'll advise that no matter what it is, no matter how difficult it is, try to save as much as 30 to 40% of whatever is coming in. It may be difficult at that moment, but it won't be difficult forever. When you do that after a period of time and you get used to it and you master that skill, that's going to help you a lot. Now, once you have made a particular, it's what is called compound interest. Once you've made a little more money, you can use that money. Let me give you an example. Imagine a woman that's running a small kiosk, right? And she's making money by maybe 5 naira profits, 10 naira profits, 15 naira profits here and there. At the end of the day, if she's able to save, let's assume she's able to save 500 naira daily. In a month, she would have saved up to, let's say, about 20,000 naira. Are we together?
Yeah.
She would have saved up to about 20,000 naira, which she can now
If she
use.
saves every day, she'll
if
make
she
like
saves
15K.
every day, yes.
15,000.
Which when she used that money to reinvest in her business, would bring her much more money. Now, this is how small businesses grow. But if you are not aware, if you don't know how to manage that little money that comes in, you'll be thinking you are not making money. And that's where a lot of small businesses and people get it wrongly, because they don't see the impact of the little money that comes in. But once you can see the little difference that, see, let me give you another example. If you carry this glass and put it where there is a tap, and water, maybe the drop of water is just dropped in there little by little, and you went to work and you came back, and you come back home and the glass is full of water.
It's overflowing even.
And it's even overflowing. And you are amazed. But that is how that is how money works. That little tiny drops that keeps coming in that you think does not amount to anything, at the end of the day will amount to much. But you have to be disciplined. You have to maintain financial discipline. You have to avoid financial traps, because the process it took you in getting that much, you don't want to do something foolish and lose your investment. That's why you have to monitor wherever your money is going to. You have to monitor it. If it's somebody that's calling to collect your money daily, you have to keep track on them. Let them tell you that you are disturbing them, that you're not the only one in it. You have to be on their case, because this is your investment. This is your sweat.
Other forms of investment too, because it's not just about saving money in the bank. A lot of us also go beyond. Let's go beyond keeping our monies in the bank. Because at the end of the day, you need to look at your finances and say, where would I get more return on my investment? It's good for you to also save, especially for emergencies and all of that. But yes, for the rainy day, it's also good. While you are saving, you have money for upkeep and welfare and all of that. You should also have monies kept in, let's say, like treasury bills right now, bonds, stocks,
even property.
Property, if you are up to that and all of that. So it's a whole lot.
It's a whole lot.
But I asked a question which you didn't seem, perhaps you didn't understand. From what she said, that in as much as we want to teach our young people, and the economy is not too good even for adults and for graduates, how do we teach them that? How do we ensure? Especially in a country whereby you hardly have like holiday jobs. You go abroad, for example. You get a child of 16, even 15. A child is even an adult, 16, 18. You know, they are working, they are schooling, they are also working. Or they finish school, they'll be like, oh, they are working 2 jobs and they are going to school. In this place, we don't really have them, except for some places where they do internship. Very few, minute actually. How do you do that? Yes.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. The economy is actually not very friendly, even for everybody. But I think from what Dexter also said, it's also about teaching them from the basics. When it becomes a lifestyle, a habit, the bigger ones will not be so hard to do. Start with savings. Create livelihood. Do they have skills? He said something. People go to school, they come out. They can't get the white-collar jobs, and they are not skilled enough to start something on their own. So what do? Is to ensure that all these things are incorporated right from the education. For those that are not even within the formal education settings, what are the programs that are available for those that are out of school to ensure that they also get the same kind of training? We have the Agency for Mass Education, which is also working to ensure that...
Are they working?
They are working. We partner with them. Yeah, we partner with them on our program. They are working. They are working. They also have...
The majority of Nigerians don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it now. They are working.
Yeah, because we are working with them.
They are working. So maybe they need to also blow their own trumpet more, but they are working. Yes. They are working. And they also have centers where they also teach vocational skills, apart from the basic literacy, numeracy, to ensure that they can read and write. But they also have vocational skills that they pass on to these young people so they can have something they can do with their hands and create their own livelihoods.
Dexter, you want to come in here?
Okay, yeah. So what I would advise is young people have to be ready to work. A lot of young people have to be ready to work. You see, like I told you, when I was a student, I was doing something else. I was running a fast food spot, and I was running that just in the evenings. So that was not affecting my academics, but in the evenings, I had 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. to make money. I had 2 people that were working under me as a student. So it depends.
And you still had time to study.
And I still had time to study. So it starts with you desiring to become financially independent. The moment you desire to become financially independent, it will cause you to begin to think. It will cause you to begin to think, what can I do? What can I do to change my financial status? And when you start thinking that way, ideas start coming to you. Ideas start coming to you. So it doesn't, like, I'll come back to what I said before. It doesn't matter how small you are starting, but start doing something. Start doing something. If you're waiting for the government, like we all know the issue of unemployment right now in the country, it's actually very terrible. So if you're waiting for somebody to actually come to help you out, that help may never come. But you have to start doing something. Now, the moment you start doing something, you may not have the big picture, but you'll be amazed at how that little thing that you started doing can transcend. I will not have time to go into details with my story.
Yeah, because I was okay. I wanted to ask you, but I said, no,
exactly.
Nancy, just
not on this
short. Perhaps after the show, you will tell me your story. Okay. I'll be interested to know if that your fast food business that you started in school is still on. Is it still on?
Yes, sure.
Fantastic. Good. Okay, let's just, because we're coming to the end of this segment, I have to take another segment. As we close the show, Global Money Week, we said the importance and all of that. What is your advice to those watching us right now to parents, to even schools.
Okay.
I said, because I think that schools can also bridge that gap.
Yeah.
You know, both the public and the private schools. Yeah.
I think the first start for schools, like I said, we have the financial education curriculum that is coming on board. But I'll speak to the theme of the Global Money Week, Learn, Save and Earn. So I'll just say learn to manage your money wisely, save for your future, and earn for yourselves and your families. That's what I'll say.
Dexter?
Okay, so thank you. What I'll say is, first of all, you need to inculcate financial discipline. You need to monitor financial traps. And what do I mean by financial traps? I'm talking about liabilities. When you want to spend much more than you earn, that's a financial trap. When you are lured by the expensive things that you know you cannot afford, but because you see all your friends having those things, the expensive phones, the expensive cars, and all those things, and you want to man up to become like them at that level, you will put yourself in a financial mess. So inculcate financial discipline. The second thing I will say is develop a multiple stream of income. Start thinking about how can I make more money apart from what you're doing. You may be employed in a job 9 to 5. What else can you do aside your 9 to 5 job that can bring you more money? So that's another thing. Then the third thing is keep track and record of your expenses. Very important. Keep track and record of your expenses. You'll be amazed at the things that are sucking up your money. There are small things that you don't give attention to, things like data. You'll be amazed how much people that say they don't have money spent on data every month. You'll be amazed. So those things are very important. And of course, we cannot overemphasize on saving. Save, 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 save. No matter how little it is, no matter how small the money it is that is coming in, save and save. Then once you have saved to a particular extent, take that money that you have saved and invest it. And after investing your money, watch your money. Keep track of your investments because that's important. So thank you so much.
It's so nice that you know that we really needed to talk about this, but I'm afraid we've come to the end of this segment, especially in a world right now where it has gone E. Everything is is an E world.
Eating now.
Yes, eating or whatever. Do you understand what I'm saying? With a lot of us with our debit cards, and so it gets us
easy.
It's so easy to spend money.
Just to